Hello everyone, my name is John and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about a bit of a preview what to expect for the NASCAR 2023 playoffs. As we know, we have 16 drivers, all going to become the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Champion this year. Drivers like Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Mark Jr., Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, Brett Keselowski, Rick Stenhouse Jr., and Bubba Wallace, 16 drivers, all competing for the championship. Now, what do we expect heading into the playoffs? We expect some surprises. We expect some shockers. We expect some potential upsets here and there of certain drivers getting stuff done, getting their A game on and performing when it needs to be done. And heck, we could even see drivers that are not in the playoffs that could win. Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Cindric, Corey LaJoie, Chase Briscoe, Eric Almirola, drivers that are outside the playoffs right now with a chance to potentially win before the year ends. Now, for the rounds, we got the round 16, which has Darlington coming up this weekend, Kansas, and Bristol. Now, for Darlington this week, I feel like Darlington is a pretty complicated track. Again, it's the Summer 500, one of the longest and most challenging tracks and races in NASCAR right now. It's long, it's grueling, it's challenging. So you gotta be resilient to racing the Summer 500. You gotta be tough. You gotta get it done. As for drivers who could potentially bring it home for the Summer 500, you got Kyle Larson, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., one of those surprises potentially, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, that are that are outside the playoffs right now, that could potentially win instead of playoff drivers. But in my opinion, you gotta look out more for the drivers that are in the playoffs right now that could potentially win to advance in the round of 12. And I mean, again, for the Summer 500, again, Larson, Byron, Truex, Hamlin, potentially a Tyler Reddick, potentially a Joey Logano, potentially a Chris Buescher, considering how hot he's been. And again, I want to mention this before heading into the rest of the rounds. Please, everyone, keep an eye on RFK. They're currently the best 4 team right now. But Brett Keselowski, Chris Buescher, they have been cooking. They have been doing insane. They have great pace heading into the playoffs. They've got a fire inside. They are ready to make some noise heading to the playoffs this weekend. I mean, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun seeing that team make some magic. But again, the Summer 500, those are the guys personally I think that will, be there at the end that Darlington with a chance to win. Then you got Kansas Motor Speedway. This is a track that's one of the best tracks right now in NASCAR, but it's got a lot of character. You got multiple grooves, you got a lot of runs off the exit of the corners. It's a fun racetrack, especially with the next-gen car. It's a really, really fun track. So, personally, drivers that could potentially win there to the playoffs, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Truex, Larson, Byron, Reddick, Blaney, those guys that could, potentially win. Chris Buescher, think about it. This is an intermediate racetrack. Buescher has been red hot. So, can't look past it. Cannot look past Chris Buescher right now. He'd be up there. He'd be up there. So again, and personally, some drivers I think that even outside the playoffs that could win. One guy that I'm looking out for Kansas, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has won an Xfinity before, ran well the first time the Cup Series was at Kansas this year. Ran well, unfortunately crashed, but and then the result of the race didn't show his pace. He was really good. So I keep an eye out on Mr. Ty Gibbs come Kansas to be one of those drivers that are outside the playoffs that could win. As for Bristol Motor Speedway, if you consider who won last year, you probably know who would be the favorite. Chris Buescher. Think about it. He's been rapid. He's been fast. He's really good right now. He's won 3 of the last 5 races in NASCAR right now. He is on it. And considering that they're heading to Bristol, where Chris Buescher won last year, and where Brad Keselowski was also really fast last year, I mean, RFK are the favorite, in my opinion, heading to Bristol. So, I mean, you could keep an eye on them, or you could stay with Denny Hamlin, Byron, Larson, those guys that could potentially, or probably will be up there late, win. You got Truex, Blaney, Reddick, those guys that are good at Bristol that could, be up there at the end. The winner point to win points. So now, personally, round of 16, who do I think will be out? Going with McDowell. I don't know, but I mean, hey, if McDowell moves on, he's got really good tracks heading his way to the round 12. So if he moves on, he'll be there. He will be there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think is gonna be out. I don't think compared to the rest of the field, I think he's down there. I don't think so. Kevin Harvick. I mean, SHR's just not been there. They're just not it. So I don't really think they're gonna do anything. And the last driver, I think Bubba Wallace. I mean, I gotta remember though, we all have to remember that Bubba won last year here at Kansas with the next gen car and ran up well in the first race. But his pit crew's just not been on it. It's just not. And Bubba's not good at Darlington or Bristol. So, as much as I'd like him to move on to the round 12, I just don't see it personally. So, yeah, those are the guys, in my opinion, that could be out for the round of 12. Now, we've got Texas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval. 3 tracks that are very different and produced a lot of chaos last year in the round of 12. That shuffled a lot of the points, a lot of the playoffs. So for Texas, I mean, you gotta keep your eye on William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Truex, Chevy, Toyota, and the 2 RFK cars. I mean, they will be up there. They will be fighting. Maybe 23XI. I mean, again, 23XI, you could also go out for them Kansas. I mean, Reddick and Bubble ran well at Kansas, but again, we'll see. Time will tell. Auto racing is pretty unpredictable, so we don't really know what's gonna happen. But yeah, for Texas, Byron, Hamlin, Larson, maybe Christopher Bell, maybe one of the Joe Gibbs cars that are inside the playoffs can get the win. Maybe Chase Elliott, one of the drivers outside the playoffs. Who knows what he could do? A lot of guys that could potentially win at Texas if the race is as unpredictable as it was last year with all the failures, tire pressures. Could end up being a race of survival. Then after Texas, you got Talladega Superspeedway. One of the most chaotic tracks in NASCAR. It's produced a lot of crazy races. Last year, though, produced one of the best races of the last year. It was really, really good, really entertaining. So, I mean, could we expect an air clean race like that? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think so, personally. I mean, Talladega, there's going to be chaos. I don't think it's going to be the same as last year's fall race where it's just not really chaotic at all. The race was extremely clean. I'd love it. I would love it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So, just got to see. As for drivers who could win, I think maybe one of the drivers outside the playoffs could win. Heck, if I had to say anyone inside that could win, Brad Keselowski is the first name that comes up to my mind. Brad Keselowski's won at Talladega so many times. He's really, really good there. So in my opinion, he'd be the favorite heading into it. And it could help him. I mean, he's really good. Round of 12, a win at Talladega would put him in the round of 8. And heck, he's been in the playoffs before and won to advance to the next round. He's done it before. So he could do it again. Who knows? But drivers outside of the playoffs that, in my opinion, could win: Harrison Burton, Corey LaJoie, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, Justin Haley. Those guys. Especially, in my opinion, Haley and Harrison Burton could win at Talladega. I feel like they will be up there late. And a couple other drivers inside the playoffs that could win is also Denny Hamlin. He's really good at super speedways. But in my opinion, if you're one of the drivers inside the playoffs, your main objective is survive Talladega. Because if you crash, that's going to hurt you a lot in the playoffs. Talladega. So, yeah, you got to be careful. Very careful. So, that one will be a race to survival for the playoff drivers. And then after that, the Charlotte Roval. The last race of the round of 12. The Roval, you got a lot of guys that have good road course experience that have that race circled down as a chance to make some damage. For example, if Michael McDowell advances to the round of 12, you know he's going to have that race circled in his calendar. Charlotte Roll, a chance to win and move on to the round of 8 if he gets out of the round of 16. But round of 12, I already had him out in round 16. So, round of 12, I mean, could be a Denny Hamlin, could be a William Byron, could be a Chris Buescher, could be a Brett Keselowski, could be potential Christopher Bell, who knows? I mean, Bell won here last year in a clutch fashion, so, and potentially some other drivers outside of the playoffs that could win. Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs are two names that come to my mind immediately. Both good road course racers and could get done. Third one, and in my opinion, the easiest one, A.J. Allmendinger. Allmendinger could easily get in the Charlotte Roll, but he's won so many times in the Xfinity Series. Although, granted, statistically, he's not done good with an next-gen car at road courses. I mean, he's only had, 2 top 5 settings in road courses? I mean, highest he ran was Watkins Glen, 4th or 5th, I believe he finished. So, I mean, he hasn't let a lap, I think, road courses at all this year. So, I mean, he's not been there, but, I mean, Charlotte Roll, a chance for him to win before closing out the year for Allmendinger would be cool. Now, I mean, if I had to make any predictions for the round of 12, I mean, it's super unpredictable, considering, well, it's a wild card. The round 12 is a true wild card, so like you don't really know who's more probable getting eliminated. But if I had to potentially guess, I'm thinking Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell. I don't think he clutches up again and moves on. It's tough. It's tough. So I had Bell, Chastain, and maybe let's go with a bit of a shocker. Perhaps, I don't know. Again, it's super unpredictable. Like, you don't really know who, because you got to remember Talladega, though Charlotte Roval, Texas, considering how it went last year. I mean, it's super unpredictable. So maybe those two are, in my opinion, the drivers that are more probable, in my opinion, that could get eliminated. Those don't even sense, don't be honest. So, yeah, it's pretty unpredictable. But now we head to the round of 8. Now, 8 drivers left before we move on to Phoenix for the championship race. So Las Vegas, in my opinion, once again, you got to keep your eye out on the Toyotas, the Chevys, maybe the Fords. The Fords are ran pretty well here at Las Vegas, so they could be up there. I mean, you got a lot of different manufacturers that could win. So, different teams as well. Not only RFK. But in my opinion, I mean, if also Reddick gets out of the round at 12, you got to look out for Tyler Reddick come Las Vegas. Who knows what could happen. But, I mean, you got to look out more for, again, Hamlin, Byron. It's kind of the theme of the season. I mean, those guys have been the drivers that have been up there most of the time that have the biggest chances of winning said races because they have the speed, they have the equipment, and they have the level that they have as drivers to, be up front and win. So, I mean, Hamlin, Byron, Larson, Truex, Blaney, Reddick, I mean, those guys could get it done. Those guys could really get it done. Buescher, I mean, KFB, Blaney, Bell, those guys could do it. Those guys could very well do it. I mean, if they are able to make it to the round of 8, those guys could win. Then we go to Homestead, Miami. My opinion, Kyle Larson's home, where he could easily take a win. His best track, I mean, he can get it done. Yeah, he really can get it done. Then you got maybe Byron, Hamlin, Chastain. If he moves on to the round of 8, that could be up there for Homestead. It'll be a fun one. Then, as for Martinsville is a tough one because considering how last year went, wow. Again, it relied more on track position because you couldn't really pass that much in short tracks, especially Martinsville, considering it's a one-group track. So, tough. But, in my opinion, the final 4 heading into the championship race is going to be William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin. I think those 4 drivers will make it to the final 4. Although personally, I would love one of maybe the RFK cars, Keselowski, or Buescher to make it to the Final Four. But against Byron, Larson, Truex, Hamlin, a lot has to go wrong for those four not to be in the Final Four. So that's there. I mean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And then we got the championship race. 4 cars that could win it. I mean, Byron, Larson, Truex, Hamlin. Basically, Joe against Racing versus Hendrick. So it'd be a fun one. It'd be a fun championship race. 2 high caliber teams, 4 top tier drivers fighting out for the championship at Phoenix. That'd be really entertaining. Who would win, in my opinion? It's a toss up between, in my opinion, Larson, Byron, and Truex. All 3 are good at Phoenix. They all do really well. Byron won this year. Truex is good here at Phoenix in the next gen car. Larson's won here before. I mean, Hamlin as well, but I don't know. It's a bit of a toss-up. It's a toss-up. But in my opinion, by the end of the year, we will be calling William Byron the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Champion, in my opinion. He will get it done. He will hold off Truex, from Larson, and from Hamlin. And personally, there you have it. It's my NASCAR 23 playoffs review. Again, it's tough. It's tough to really say what could happen in these playoffs. A lot of drivers can make some amazing upsets, potentially bubble walls to the round of 8. Chris Buescher to the Final Four. Tyler Reddick to the Final Four. I mean, Harvick in his farewell season could potentially be in the Final Four, have a chance at a championship, which would be insane. We could have Blaney with a chance, Bell with a chance, Chastain with another chance to get a championship. We could have drivers trying to add on to a Hall of Fame resume. Harvick, Hamlin, Logano, those guys. 2 drivers want to add another championship. 1 driver's looking for his first championship to automatically basically be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He's already done plenty enough. He just needs a championship. So, yeah, a lot to look forward for this year starting at Darlington. It's going to be a fun journey. And I'm very happy that I will have the opportunity to be talking about it every single weekend. But, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I will see you after the Start 500. Bye-bye.